Here in front of you are three flagship OLED TVs, and throughout the video you will see them in Dolby Vision, but the main footage that you'll be seeing is going to be the Spears and Munsell UHD benchmark disc. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is because it really gives you the Dolby Vision presentation in a way that I can actually show you some of the footage in real time with moving images. Where when I'm showing you movies and TV shows, that's going to be stills. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at this video. There will be a lot of still footage that we'll look at. Now, before I break down the Dolby Vision differences, I do want to talk about these three TVs as a whole, because you may be looking at this just to see which one is going to be able to do Dolby Vision, but you still want to know what's going to be the best one for you at the end of the day. And between these three TVs, they are going to be a little bit different in their own way. So the BRAVIA 8 Mark II is going to be a QD OLED TV, which is a quantum dot OLED. The Panasonic Z95B is going to be a primary RGB tandem OLED, as well as the LG G5, that's using the same exact technology as the Z95B from Panasonic. In terms of the big strengths and weaknesses that stick out with these things in mind, you have to understand that the QD OLED TVs are going to be able to deliver better color overall, not only color brightness, but color purity as well. There's other pros and cons as well, but I do think those are going to be the big things that separate the TV and what makes QD OLED the better technology overall in terms of the actual picture quality. And yes, it does stick out and sometimes it does make a really big difference. But I do think that the Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II may be underutilizing that technology just a little bit compared to its competition, the Samsung S95F. But since the S95F can't do Dolby Vision, it's not going to be in this comparison, of course. Before we get into the actual comparisons with the movies and TV stills, I want to talk about the price comparisons with these in mind. And full transparency, Sony did send me the BRAVIA 8 Mark II and the Panasonic Z95B as well as the G5 I ended up buying myself. But if you want to help support the channel so that we can get more future TVs in for comparisons and reviews, please make sure you consider buying your next TV using my affiliate links in the description below. It helps a lot. Thank you guys so much for your support. So I'm going to be using the 65-inch as the example here, and looking at the Panasonic Z95B on Amazon.com, I can see that they're listing it for $2,999, and this is very similar to what I see with the BRAVIA 8 Mark II, where that is listed at $2,999. Now there is a sale going on right now, and this could change. I'm recording this video around Labor Day, so this is going to go live a little bit after that. The 65-inch LG G5 is $27.99 with the promotion that they have available for this TV. And I have to be clear once again that these are going to be prices that fluctuate throughout the year. Depending on when you're watching this video, it could be cheaper or more expensive than what I just said. Alright, so for these next couple of minutes, it might seem like I'm picking on Sony with these Dolby Vision comparisons in mind, but that's not really the case. I'm just kind of calling out what I see when it comes down to Dolby Vision. They do seem to have one of the more glaring problems. The ones that really stick out to me really seems to be with the Sony. So let's go over that right now. I'm going to be using the Green Knight as an example here, and I want to show you a scene that automatically stuck out to me as seeing a lot of posterization within the content itself. So hopefully you can see this. There is definitely some posterization on the Sony itself, some color banding, and this is something that I feel is very noticeable. I got the question on what posterization and color banding was, and if I could supply an example of that, well, here is an example of that on the left here with the BRAVIA 8 Mark II. You can definitely see there's a lot of posterization going on here. Now, the other TVs can exhibit posterization within this scene as well, but it's very subtle compared to what you're seeing on the Sony, where that sticks out quite a bit. Now going on to another scene from the Green Knight, there's going to be a couple of things that stick out with this one in mind, and you're going to see that yes, the Sony has a different look than both the other TVs that we're showing you here, and I have to say one of the things that stuck out with the Sony is that it does seem to be a little bit brighter than maybe it should be, especially when we're talking about in the shadows or darker scenes. I did notice that this was the case in Dolby Vision with the Sony TV. However, the real big thing that I really really wanted to point out with this scene particularly was the Panasonic Z95B. Just look at how this one is doing the posterization in this scene. It is quite ugly and it is very noticeable. This is something that I did notice with the Panasonic Z95B. It did seem to have its bouts of posterization within Dolby Vision itself. To touch on this Sony a little bit more, where I was talking about it does seem to be lifting the picture a little bit in a lot of different scenes. You can see that here in another scene from Green Knight. You can see that it is over brightening the picture quite a bit compared to the rest of the TVs. So you're getting an image that is going to be over brightened. So personally, I did struggle with the Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II in Dolby Vision, and currently I'm not using it in Dolby Vision. I make sure that I am forcing my streamer into HDR10. Whatever streamer I end up using, that is always the case, and the reason why is because we see examples like this. As you can see on the Panasonic, using the gray man for this example, you can see that on the wall there's posterization, but the HDR10 version doesn't have it. Year after year, doesn't matter what the manufacturer is, there's something going on with the Dolby Vision mode. Now, there's been rare cases like the A95K where you're getting a really good Dolby Vision mode out of the box, but that is so rare. I'm telling you that most of the time when I'm checking out Dolby Vision on these TVs, it's usually worse than HDR10. And here's a couple more examples of Dolby Vision, but I'm not really going to commentate on them. They're just going to be a little bit of a slideshow going back and forth. And I'm just going to leave you with this because honestly, I feel like Dolby Vision is probably looked at as a necessity. And I don't know exactly why that reasoning is, but I think it has something to do with the tag that pops up when you're in Dolby Vision, or that tag that pops up on a Netflix splash screen when you're about to watch the movie. It says, this movie's in Dolby Vision, I have to watch it in Dolby Vision or I'm not gonna get the full experience. And that's simply just not the case. You're still gonna get HDR10. In most cases, is gonna be almost identical to the Dolby Vision counterpart. In some of the examples I showed you today, a better version than the Dolby Vision counterpart because the way the modes are shipped, and also just because there's not much difference in most of the content that we're seeing. Unless you're watching something on physical media and you're lucky enough that this got really good treatment, then you are going to get a little bit of a better experience out of Dolby Vision for the physical media. But through streamers, yeah, not really. You're not going to see too many examples out there where there's going to be a better version streaming in Dolby Vision than the actual video that you're seeing in HDR10. That's not to say there's not subtle differences that you can pick up on, but the differences sometimes just isn't worth the sacrifices that you have to go through with the Dolby Vision mode in mind. But I understand that for a lot of people, just being in Dolby Vision is going to be easier because that's what they put you in automatically for the most part. And I understand that. And maybe that's why I need to make this video, is because we need to show manufacturers, hey, this is not cool. This mode sucks and it shouldn't suck because, we're forced into it. Anyway, I really hope this video helped you out, but if you feel like you need more, then you should check out this side-by-side comparison with all 4 flagship OLED TVs. I think that will be a little bit clearer than this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.